And I hear from my friends in the real estate world about how, I mean, you have a lot of factors in real estate, but the interest rates kind of slowed down a lot of the transacting, right? Because people are like, well, I want to wait and see what's going to happen. I guess where does this all lead? I don't know if you have a
Great.
way of forecasting the
I
future.
do. I
Oh,
do. You brought on the man with the crystal ball. And
Hi, I'm Beth Hochberger, CPA CGMA. This channel aims to educate you on tax, tech, crypto, and finance related news. Come learn how to grow and keep your wealth.
hi, I'm Beth Hochberger, CPA CGMA. And today we have our special guest, Bill Bymel with First Lien Capital. Bill, thanks so much for taking a little time to chat with us today. Do you want to do a brief intro? Tell us about yourself and what you do?
sure. Well, Beth, thanks for having me along. I have been spent over 2 decades investing in all aspects of the real estate business. I started as a fix and flip residential investor. I've bought banks. I've done commercial development ground up. And about 15 years ago, 16 years ago now, the summer of 2008, 3 months before the fall of Lehman Brothers, I was introduced to an opportunity to buy mortgage notes on residential homes at a severe discount to the face value of the debt.
Uh-oh.
And
And then what
and
happened?
and then the world crashed, and it was actually it was a light bulb moment for me because it gave me access to an area of real estate called the secondary mortgage market, where I could really take my expertise in valuation and property management and mortgage servicing and apply that expertise to buying discounted mortgage notes at a safe LTV to the real estate that it encumbers. So I've done that now to the tune of 16 years. I went
Oh,
off on my own buying them for a little short time, and then I got hired by a New York private equity firm where I really honed my skills in the Wall Street talk of dealing
mm.
with bankers and hedge fund managers selling notes and all of that, and infused the two of those together. And over the course of 15 years, we did thousands of loans on the residential side.
Oh,
And a
wow.
lot of it was about keeping people in their homes when they were upside down.
Okay.
So I was actually able
Oh,
to go, yeah, no, and I wrote a book about it called
oh
Win-Win
yeah.
Revolution. And
Shameless
it's
plug.
really shameless plug. The idea was, we're not just buying debt and foreclosing on these homes, right? Especially after the great financial crisis of 2008, everyone was
Right,
upside
right.
down.
Oh
So like
yeah.
30.
Upside down, underwater, all that fun stuff that hopefully people have forgotten what that means.
That's right. That's right. Well, they've forgotten what it means in the residential world, but we could talk about where commercial may end up in the not too distant
Oh.
future.
Oh,
Certainly,
that
that's
actually that'd be interesting because in Florida, right, we hear about how like New York, like nobody's in an office anymore in New York.
right.
Is that real? Is that like a
It
real
is.
thing?
I'm going to take it one step further. Not only is it real in New York, and maybe that's ground zero for where the coming crisis in commercial real estate is,
Mm.
but this is a systemic problem. This is a
Uh-oh.
cultural shift that's happened across America. So whether you're in even Miami, where there is a brand new office building in Wynwood, downtown in the hot part of Miami, that is going to be foreclosed on in 3 weeks from now.
Wait, what?
Yes,
What?
yes,
No way. Really? Mm.
yes, it's happening in your backyard,
Oh
Bet.
my God. I didn't even know. I didn't know. You ask me, I'm like, there's nothing. There's nothing to, residential or commercial. There's nothing to buy. There's no space
It
left
seems,
here. We're filled in Florida, South Florida specifically. But
well,
that's crazy. I
and
didn't even know
I
about that.
It's good that you brought that up, and that is because that is the perspective. That's the perspective because we're gone on a 16-year run since 2008. Really, the markets
It's been
bottomed
that
out.
long.
Really, markets bottomed out in 2012. Statistically,
Okay.
that was the
Okay.
low point of real estate values. So it's a 12-year boom in real estate values across the board.
Wow.
I'm from well, I don't live in Florida right now. I'm from South Florida originally, and I remember multiple boom and bust cycles.
Mm,
A lot
yeah.
of the newcomers to Florida maybe don't have that perspective that some of our Floridians like us might have. And
Yeah.
and the reality is that it's just a numbers game. You're an accountant. When the price
Yeah.
of money goes from 0 to 5%, that is a statistically infinite growth number in the
Right.
cost of capital. And so that has never been done in the history of this country. And even when you look at
Really?
Volcker days, when you go from 8 to 16, an 8 to 16 move-in rate is exponentially not as big as 0 to 5
Right.
from a
Right. Right.
mathematical perspective.
Right.
So
For
we
the
have
math
yet to,
nerds. Right.
yeah, so yeah, right. I'm sorry to insert some nerdiness in that, um because like I can talk about it, but I can't actually do the math. That's not true. You and I both know where we went to school, so they taught us math well. So but I
But
will say that
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that we are kind of at a turning point now. Um we can't continue to print money, and obviously the Federal Reserve is trying to normalize the markets and
Right.
with higher for longer. So we're going to see that
And
effect soon.
so we saw, right, a little bit ago, a problem in the banking side. But you talked about like those interest rates changing, right, from the zero and then start raising it. And I hear from my friends in the real estate world about how, I mean, you have a lot of factors in real estate, but the interest rates kind of slowed down a lot of the transacting, right? Because people are like, well, I want to wait and see what's going to happen. I guess where does this all lead? I don't know if you have a
Great.
way of forecasting the
I
future.
do. I
Oh,
do. You brought on the man with the crystal ball, and I'm going to do it with a smile, even though it sounds so horrible.
oh no,
Uh,
it's going to be bad news when you say it like that.
it's look, markets are cyclical. If you are a
Mm,
35-year-old banker, you don't understand the concept of what capital costs, so you don't have the context and the framework for what
yeah.
is about to happen. But the reality is that what I just spoke to, that there's a paradigm shift, that the industry, that things are turning right now, is what is exactly what you just spoke to when you said you hear from your friends that deals are slowing down. When markets are going in a certain direction, it's like a big ship. It's got to slow down and turn slowly before it heads in the other direction. And we're really in that moment. The last year's banking crisis is not over. I would
That's some
remind
bad
students.
news.
No,
That's some bad news.
it is bad news. It is unfortunate, but it is true. And listen, there's a lot of great banks out there. I don't that we shouldn't. There's thousands of banks. We're the largest number of independent banks in the world in this country. Unfortunately, we will probably go through some consolidation and a few failures, and which is normal. But I would remind students of history that in the summer of 2008, you had already had Bear Stearns fall at that point, and people still didn't see what was coming with Lehman Brothers and the freezing of economic markets in the
Yeah.
fall of '08.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's just
It's
from
true.
that. I want to open people's perspective in that regard because I kind of see that that's where it's headed. I'm not saying that,
Mm,
and it's not going to look anything like 2008. We don't have a residential over leverage problem right now. We have huge
right.
amounts of equity on the residential side of the market.
Oh, that's
It
good. That's
doesn't
good, right?
mean, though, that we're not overvalued in terms of
Oh,
residential prices, though. And you know that. I mean, come
okay.
on.
Yeah, you see
I mean,
that. You see
what does a
that.
local Floridian do these days trying to relocate?
Leave. But it's like it's funny to like say that, but it's really a problem, right? And if you're familiar with some of the areas of Miami that have names where you used to be told things like "Don't go there," right?
Opalaka.
And
Oops, I wasn't supposed to say
areas
that.
like around Brickell and stuff where
Yeah,
you're having to rename them, like Brickell adjacent because it used to be an area where you would get like carjacked or something if you tried to go
right.
there, or people would say like, "Oh, just whatever you do, don't turn left at that one
That's
corner because who knows what'll happen to you." And now you tear everything
Little
down and it's a
Haiti
high
is
rise.
Wynwood adjacent now. Little Haiti is Wynwood
Yeah,
adjacent.
yeah, it's his, it's its own thing now, and I'm always surprised when I'm down in that area, like networking events or other events, and people tell you where they live, and they're like, "I'm sorry, what?" And they're like,
And
"It's
they
a
paid
new
$1 million.
high-rise building. It's a new high-rise development, something like flashy and ridiculous, and you paid what to live where?" And there's a lot of that. But where do people go? Like you're displacing
Right.
people who otherwise lived there before you built that high rise. So
The only answer is that markets are cyclical. And the whole point of this higher for longer by the Fed is they say it's about inflation. What they really mean is it's about prices. And we're going to see a top down effect, which is good if unless you're a billionaire, or but we're gonna see a top down effect. Which I mean, I mean, if you're a billionaire, it's not going to be that bad. So,
you'll be okay.
but
You'll be
yeah,
okay.
you'll still be okay,
Hopefully.
right? But there's going to be where it's going to we see there's a lot of hidden pain in private equity. There's a lot of
Mm,
banks
mm,
that were didn't really manage. There's a lot of Silicon Valley banks out there. There was one
mm.
a couple weeks ago that got closed in that I had never heard of. And if you look at Bloomberg a week ago, they named 5 regional banks that I had never heard of that they're downgrading. This is
Oh,
just the beginning of a
mm,
banking situation. And I'm not saying it's like a crisis, but it's systemic and we
okay.
don't know where the problems lie. And I think that the problems lie as much in private equity as they do in the banking system. And it's just a cost of capital thing. If you've been raised with on a different
Yeah.
paradigm and now you have to operate on this, deals don't pencil anymore, you know. So that's the world that
So
we live in, which is exciting for me
yeah,
who buys distressed debt.
right. So
My
distressed
phone is
debt.
ringing off the hook. By the way, remember that saying, my phone is ringing off the hook? I don't have
Yeah.
a phone that has a hook.
There's no hook. I know. The
No
kids don't
hook.
know what you're talking about, Bill. They're like, "What's a hook?"
I heard someone talk at a speech the other day about remember like our one phone growing up was in the kitchen with the long cord, and I was laughing. I was
The
like, "Oh, I
twisty
know
cord.
exactly." And it was always getting like tangled. My dad was
Yep,
laughing at
yep. The good old days,
the kids in
right?
the audience, anyone under 35, anyone under 40 was like, what is this cord? What?
Cord. So there's actually a little aside related to that. It's nothing to do with our topic. I don't know if you've gone to the Morikami
Oh yeah,
garden
in
in
Boca?
Boca, and they have
I
that
love that
little
place.
Japanese like museum, but like the kids can play with stuff, and they have like a payphone. And I remember like my kids when they were little, we took them there and they like picked it up to talk on it, but they had it like upside down, so like the cord was at the top, and I was like, hold on, turn it the right way. They're like,
Oh,
how do
that's
you know what end is
hilarious.
up?
That is
It's just funny.
awesome.
It's funny. It's a funny play. I used to like they used to like going there a lot more, but whatever. Just to the side.
I love the Murakami. And actually, one of the better sushi restaurants in Palm Beach County is that little cafe
Really?
at the Murakami because they're real
Huh.
Japanese. They know where to source it from. Absolutely.
Oh,
Check,
how
check
about
it out.
that? I've
Uh-huh.
never had any of the food there. We used to take the kids to literally run. We're like, go run around this entire lake and
I
don't
mean, I wouldn't
stop
do
until
fine
we get to
dining.
back to the building.
I'm not doing an omakase there, but let's just say for like a lunch sushi or there. I mean, it's better than the Florida is starting to get better sushi, but it always amazed me that a state that was surrounded by water on three sides didn't
We don't
have
have
better
great
sushi
sushi.
restaurants.
I don't know. I think
I
it's
don't
what
know.
people like to eat though. Also, like
Yeah,
you need like snapper sushi, I think, if you want like good sushi in Florida.
that's right. There's that whole snapper grouper thing, and that's not really conducive to sushi. That
So
fish.
sushi, but all right, whatever.
Wagyu
Anyway.
sushi. I ate a lot of wagyu sushi. That's good.
Oh yeah.
we've been
Okay.
we've been on all the topics. We could be like doing like a
Okay.
highlight reel for South Florida. I went fishing for wahoo and ate it at sushi.
And I ate the sushi. It's
um,
funny because
I'm glad that we're cutting
we
it.
hardly ever do anything like with fishing or whatever. But I'm like in New Jersey right now, and Alex and our youngest went fishing yesterday and caught a bunch of kingfish. So I have like a
Oh,
bag full of kingfish sitting in my fridge
oh
right
my
now.
gosh, kingfish. That's a fun one. Well, that's nice. You're Jersey shoring it.
Yes, I'm
Heck
actually sitting
yeah.
in my overpriced real estate
Yeah.
New Jersey.
Don't worry.
Well,
Next year it'll be cheaper.
oh God, don't tell me that. So actually, we got a decent deal on this place, but we've been trying to buy another
Oh,
one. We wanted to have like a few here and find
oh,
some
okay.
other markets
Yeah.
to go into. There is number one, no inventory. Number two, the inventory that is here is so insanely expensive that we can't make the financials make any sense. I'm like,
Right.
you renovate these like 3 bedroom, 1 bath beach bungalows at the Jersey Shore and you want to sell it for $5 million. I'm like, I don't care that you put marble in everything. Like, who am I renting this to to
Right.
make this make any sense? And if you're
That's right.
local, how are you buying it? It's almost the same problem as Florida, right?
It's that's why I say it's, and so to that extent, residential does have some cracks coming. And if it's coming, it's like in the Airbnb markets like that, where
Ooh, no,
I
not the
hate to
Airbnb
say it.
markets.
I'm sorry to say it. Don't hate
No.
me. But maybe, listen, as long as you're a quality operator, the whole point of it is so many people came into this game. And there's a big difference between somebody that's offering a quality product at a good value. 500 bucks a night for a Jersey Shore house that you can take your whole family to is a win-win, you know? But
Yep.
a lot of people went, oh, I can do that. I'm going to go get this little house and do 80. But and there's a segment of the Airbnb market that's just substandard that's not getting business. And for those people, they
That
might have
that
gotten
makes
business
sense.
when there was overflow from COVID. Those people were
Yeah.
getting business, and
Yeah.
just like in any business, there's winners and losers. So I'm not saying
Yep.
the Airbnb is dead by any means. I love the product. I want to do it myself. I want to look. I'm waiting for like you to buy some more for myself. But there is a difference between quality, I mean, and I'm not. I
Yes.
don't mean
100%.
it's quality and value. It's got the numbers got to make sense.
Right.
You're
Right.
never gonna make enough in rental dollars. It's simple math again to renting out your $5 million bungalow. You know, I
I
know
mean, maybe
math
if
sucks.
it's in a desirable enough location. I don't know that the Jersey Shore is that desirable
Yeah,
enough location.
I think you need to get out of the Jersey Shore. No, I'm just, I'm just kidding.
So part of why I'm at the Jersey Shore is because the location. 2 blocks to my parents, 2 blocks to the beach. So
Oh, well,
it's
then
nice.
there you go. I mean, you can't go wrong. I didn't realize you
Okay.
were a Jersey girl, Beth. Was that
Oh,
you grew up here?
well,
Do you know that my wife?
I identify as a native Floridian because I've lived there for 20 years.
Oh, that's not enough. Come on. I lived
Not
there
enough.
38 of my 48 years in life, and I don't. even, I mean, I am a Floridian, but I was born in Chicago. I moved to Florida when I was 4 months old. So I think I
Mhm.
qualify.
I
But
think you
anyways,
qualify.
my wife was a Jersey girl, but she used to hate it when I would call her that because she wanted to disassociate it with. She was like, she even dyed her hair platinum blonde and to like deassociate. I don't know what the hell, but she would always say she was from New York.
Oh no, no. See, but the problem is that once you're in Florida for long enough, right, you don't want people to think you're from New York because that's like a
That's
whole
right.
separate thing,
That's a whole nother
right?
thing. That's true. No,
Right?
you are a Floridian. Okay, we'll give you
I'm
that.
a
We'll give you
Floridian. I'm a
that.
Floridian, please.
Yeah, we got you.
I
Got it.
also identify as a blonde, so
Yeah, I see. You're very
I
pretty.
feel that. I feel that. We can pick our own identity.
That's
That's
right.
what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Blonde in parentheses, blonde, she/blonde.
She/blonde. I like that. That might be my new pronouns.
That could be good. Isn't that a brilliant idea? I just got you something that's going to get you some attention.
Maybe, maybe. Um. Anyway, back to
So,
that.
anyways, I should start interviewing you now. um,
Interview me. Let me ask you one other thing, and if
yeah.
it has legs, we'll go with it. Do you deal at all, or have any ideas or theories, whatever, um, foreign countries or actors from foreign countries and investing, whether it's in real estate or other things here in our markets in the US, and what effect does that have? Because you know you hear, and this is a little bit of social media, right? Like, oh, groups from China are like buying up all the houses and things like that. And does that have any impact on sort of what we're seeing in the
This is a
markets?
wonderful, wonderful conversation that we can go on for hours about.
Oh, hours. Uh-oh. This might be a
But we're
second
not
video.
going to. Don't worry. We're going to take about 2 minutes to dispel a couple of myths.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Dispelling
there,
myths. Yeah.
yes. Okay, a large number of Chinese people bought homes in America, not recently, but post 2008, because they were smart and bought like houses
Oh,
in Detroit
bought
and
low. Bought low.
for like $10,000 a piece and whatnot.
Oh my
So
God.
there was that did happen, and Chinese banks, HSBC, a couple others, did create a large presence here in the United States in the form of mortgages and owning some real estate as well, investments in real estate. Um, I have friends that are Chinese Americans, and I have friends that are Chinese, or colleagues, I would say. I don't know that they're friends, whatever. So I've had these conversations about wanting to see things from their perspective. So we're just talking about that country, and then we'll go broader to the global impact. Um, the people that brought their money here didn't do so on behalf of the Chinese government and their communist agenda. The people that invested here, individuals, middle class Chinese people, did it to try to get their money out of China. So, in a way,
Oh,
they are
that's so
actually
interesting. That's really
right.
okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
it kind of reminds me of like, we've got to separate the country's government's agenda from what the individual people of that country have in their own lives. And a lot of them want the same thing that all of us as Americans have: the freedom to raise their family in safe environments and have them well educated and be successful and have a roof under their heads and be able to have careers and be able to have the freedom to do what they want with their own money and not get overtaxed and over told what the government's going to do. And so it's like we're all human, right? So that's where the facts then can create
Gotcha.
fallacies and
Gotcha.
misconceptions. So there's
Okay.
no
Because
worry that like we're
we
going to get into
hear
a war with China. Yeah, that all
okay,
of a sudden
over
they're going
over
to
over
yeah.
real estate, because we hear that, in the greater Miami area, every time there's, somebody in South America is taken over by a communist something or
Yep.
other,
There's a boom.
everybody's coming up here and they're buying up all the real estate and cars and whatever, so they have assets here. Is kind of the same,
Exact same
same,
thing.
same,
And,
same
and,
thing.
and it's
Gotcha.
interesting. Yeah, if you look at like Weston and you look at parts of like not Edgewater, but the area, near the Doral, these entire
Yeah.
markets thrived, and in many ways, it's an interesting catch-22 because had it not been for COVID, the South Florida condo market was really stalling in 2019. And the reason it was
Mm.
stalling was because we as a country were starting to become more like insular, we were a lot of the foreign money from obviously the Russian money wasn't coming to South Florida. There was a big boom in the in the mid 2010s, a lot of Russian money coming to buy condos in along Miami Beach, and then, same with the Chinese and then some of the South Americans. So a lot of that foreign money fuels South Florida's condo market and
Oh
really
yeah,
helps build its
absolutely,
value. Cash
absolutely.
buyers,
Yeah.
it's formed a foundation for it. So if anything, thank gosh, COVID came along and everyone wanted to get that out of New York. Look
I
at it
mean,
now.
we've had a boom, and everyone's like, it. Just wait, they're all going to leave, and they haven't really left because I think Florida's not just lawlessness and chaos.
Right.
Like,
Well,
we have some things
there's more
going for us.
there's a lot more culture now than when I was a
Yeah,
kid in Florida.
yeah.
I
There's a
miss
lot more.
that old beachiness of Fort Lauderdale, the like Penrod spring breaky thing,
We have it
but
a little bit. It's a little more
yeah,
commercial, a little more grown up, but
I can't stand the traffic when I'm back there. I don't know how you deal with it.
it's horrible. It's horrible. I have a driver now. I have two. I
Oh,
have two
oh well,
drivers.
okay, that
It's my
handles it.
kids, but whatever.
That's right. That's what I do. By the way, I live here, and I haven't gotten my daughter a car yet. I'm gonna get her one for college, but I don't even drive. I'd rather Uber around LA. You just Uber because first of all,
Yeah.
the only time I'm going out is going to dinner to drink. So
Right,
and it's
right.
$20 for valet anyway, so it's the same thing to Uber.
Yeah, no, we have the same thing because we live near the Hard Rock, and you can always get an Uber. Always. I've many times been like, we're going to Miami, getting an Uber. Somebody's like leaving work from like the
Right.
Hard Rock, and they're like, well, now you're paying for my commute. I'm like, I don't care. You're getting me where I need to
Perfect.
go. You're getting where you need to go. We're all happy.
Technology, that was definitely one of the best parts of the last decade in terms of apps and technologies was because like no one would ever take taxis. It was like such a like a it was like,
Terrible.
ooh, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
terrible. Horrible
yeah.
experience. So, it was an industry ripe for disruption. I don't like to throw that word out there, but in that case, it really was. It was
I
ripe
agree.
for disruption, and it was disrupted. So, all right, cool. Well, I think we've got almost half an hour of recorded time. Let me ask
Yeah.
you that one last question, Bill, not to put you on the spot, but do you have any interesting or exotic hobbies that you can
Well,
share with
I have a
us?
lot. I have a lot of interesting and exotic. Well, I don't know that they're exotic, but they're interesting.
Okay.
Everyone says they travel a lot. I do. I've been to 45 countries. I'm going
45
for
countries.
that's correct. I'm going for 50 by 50, so I've got to find five new ones in the next two
I think
years. Well,
if I've been to five, it's a lot. Wow. That's
I
crazy.
just did the count for the first time a few weeks ago because I was like, I think I've been to a lot, but I hadn't known. And but I'm a soccer referee. So I've done that for 12 years. The highest I've ever done was like two levels below MLS. But I do mostly like high school level competitive, maybe some
Wow.
adult rec stuff, but mostly like high school and college level kids. But the thing that is really interesting that I don't tell many people about is that I have a fascination with flight simulation. And over COVID, when you couldn't fly for a year because I love to fly and travel, I bought Microsoft Flight Simulator and all the geeky stuff with like and I've learned how to fly an Airbus A320, which I could fly one of these things. And I've done like hours and hours. I'm actually going to the Flight Sim Expo in Vegas this weekend.
So where are we going? Like, you can fly yourself to some countries now.
I don't own the plane though. The plane's too expensive.
Oh,
It's a lot
I just
easier
need
on
the plane.
simulation.
Gotcha. That's wild. Okay, I'm still hung up on the 45 countries. Wait, so what's your favorite country that you've gone to?
Japan is my favorite country
Oh yeah.
to travel to visit. I've been there 3 or 4 times, and I
Oh,
still
that's so
haven't.
cool.
I still have not been to so much of the country. Was able to take the kids to
Oh,
Hokkaido for Christmas this year, so we had Christmas in the snowy region of Japan,
oh
and
wow.
then with like the onsens and the hot springs, and
That's
I'm
really
such a
cool.
sushi lover that's probably why I love Japan the most. So when I
Back
can
to the
go,
sushi.
yeah, it's all back to sushi, baby.
That's really cool. My son, he's going to West Point. He's going to be in the army. He's like hoping that he can manage to end up like deployed or a semester or something in Japan. But he doesn't speak
Okinawa.
Japanese, so it might be a challenge for him. But he really, really, really wants to go.
There are people, I thought the same thing, and it's not easy getting around. And the Japanese culture is preferential to their own language, but there's
Gotcha.
plenty of English speaking. And
Oh,
I met some people on my most recent trip to Japan that are American only, English speaking only people who live there. So it is possible.
live there. Wow. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Okay, well, we learned a couple
You,
interesting things about you, but I'll have to get some travel tips. I haven't been anywhere exciting, and I think the last exciting trip we went on Iceland. That was
ooh, Bill, that's a wonderful. I haven't even been
it
to
was
that.
cool.
That my kids, my 2 sons, I sent there in 2015, but I have not been yet. So
That might be around so Wow Air was flying out of Miami for a hot minute, and they
right,
did like a special when they first opened, and I told Alex, I'm like, we're going to Iceland, and he was like, all right, whatever. And I'm like, no, I booked tickets, and he's like, you did? I'm like, yeah, we're going to Iceland. It's like the only place in Europe I've been is Iceland, but whatever. I got to see puffins. I really loved it. And
I love it.
puffins. I went
When
for the
my kids
puffins.
were it's interesting that puffins was what interests you. My sons came back saying we got to eat whale sushi.
Whale sushi. I didn't see that anywhere. I know like a delicacy there is fermented shark, which I also did
Yeah,
not eat. But
yeah, I
that
would
is
not do
something that they eat there, and I'm like, I am not adventurous like that, so I will not be eating fermented shark. That sounds terrible. But yeah, no, it's a neat country. Like they have so many more. It got so popular with the tourism. They have so many more tourists than like actual inhabitants. That they and years ago they were like, we don't know what to do. Like our roads can't handle all the tourism, and like our
right.
infrastructure can't keep up. I'm like, oh, tax everybody that shows up and plow the money
Yeah,
back in and keep it going. So I don't know. It's
you
cool.
can
It's
be
a
the
cool little
tax
country.
advisor to the Icelandians. What are they called, Icelandians? What are they? Iceland?
Icelandic people.
I, Icelander.
I don't know.
Icelanders?
Icelanders. I don't know. I don't even know. They're very nice though. Very nice people there.
Well, when you're, in the dark that much, you have to be, I guess. I don't know. I was going to come up with some joke that did not work. Forget it. Cut that part out.
Cut that out.
Anyways, it was great being with you. I'm going to prep for my next call. I say hi to your husband. When are we
Will
going to
do.
meet in person? When I'm in Florida, or you come to LA? What's the deal? Never.
We're not going to LA.
Yeah, you see, I see. You have a thing against us progressives.
Progressive. Their ocean's on the wrong side. Like we don't know what to do.
The ocean is way too cold over here. I wouldn't even call it an ocean. It's an ice bath.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're in New Jersey right now. It's so cold in the water.
That's true. I think I'm just spoiled being like in Floridian, like 70-degree water. And I remember in
Yeah.
Florida when we lived there, and I would go to the beach and it would be like 70, and I'd be like, the water and be like, oh, it's too cold. Oh, okay, I gotta go. It was great being
All
with you.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking around. I hope you learned something new. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to my channel if you want to continue improving your tax and financial literacy. Bye.